Okay, this time on the laboratory, we're going to do Cooking for Christmas Gold Able Collection. This comes from a Christmas display here in Phoenix. Just take a look at it. There's the instructions. Set those off to the side for a moment. If I remember from what he mentioned is the door doesn't work on this. That you can hear it, but nothing happens. So let's get it out of the box. Alright, and let's get the box out of the way. Finally, there's the pieces of cake and stuff that go on the top of this unit, according to the picture. And there it is. Let's set the foam out of the way. Carefully try and get this thing out. There we go. It's a pretty tight fit. Just going to set it down for a second so I can get the top and the bottom out of the way. So, here's the inside. I'm just examining the inside because on the picture, could have sworn there was a bar that went here. You know what? Instead of looking at the picture, look at the instructions. Maybe they show it. No. The instructions don't show much of anything because it's black and white. I'll still set those back out of the way. Grab the box again. Yeah. See the bar on the picture? On the side too there. So that's probably the problem. It's a good assumption if it's missing a part. Interesting piece. Push that back in. It's a spring-loaded door. On the back we have push for new song, push button, volume with an off click, year-round songs, and Christmas Carol flip, 9 volts it says is the incoming power. The adapter is a 9 volt DC adapter given to me that says Cooking for Christmas. So let's plug it in and listen to it before we dismantle it. So it's plugged in. It's in the off position. Plugged in. I'm assuming this guy's supposed to do something because he moves. Everything else is pretty solid, so nothing. Yeah, you can hear that motor. It's trying to turn something. Okay, so the selector works. Let's unplug it. So here's what it looks like in person. This he moves. So I'm assuming he actually moves. Of course, we know about that. Everything else is pretty solid. On the bottom, there's some screws. So, bear with me for a moment. I got an important phone call coming in. Alright, sorry about that interruption. On the bottom, turn it over. It says, this is a gold label product. It has a phone number you can call or visit their website. With a website, it says model of this, power adapter is supplied. Tells you it's a 9-volt, 1000 milliamp, and it says the date code is M29, made in China for Mr. Christmas. And the screws that are by these 4 legs, not these 3 in the middle, are most likely the screws to take this apart. The 3 screws in the middle, I'm going to assume are holding the mechanism, which honestly sounds like it's broke free, which might be why there's no connection to the door anymore. So we're going to start with these 4 screws on the sides. Let's see if we can get this thing apart carefully. Okay, screws have been loosened. Get them all pulled out so we don't lose them. Just using gravity to help drop the bottom. Hopefully I'll be able to see. Probably see better with a little more light. And I see a big speaker. See some springs. Looks like I'm probably going to have to take these 3 screws out as well. And when I spin this, I'm actually, oops, that screw doesn't do anything. There we go. That screw is connected to whatever makes the door work. So I'm trying to turn the screw and it's just causing the door to jump. Get the 1 screw out. These screws are different, as you saw in the picture. They're pan heads. So I'm doing is looking to see if there's any screws that are coming in from the top. So yes, you have to take those 3 screws out. The bottom screw is actually broken, the housing, off of the mechanism. And the thumping I hear is this. It's not attached to anything. And it looks like it used to be based on the shards of plastic there. Nothing's in that one. And I see a big drive gear. And I see the big drive gear on the inside. I'll show you all that in just a moment. Of course, there's the speaker. For y'all, it's a JW 8 ohm 5 watt. 0.5 watt, sorry. Circuit board has broke free from its glue. There's 2 boards in here. The board that everything connects in the back, which is basically just taking the power and sending it to different parts of the main board. Here's the main board. There are 2 glue spots. So this board has broke free. Most likely when this motor assembly broke free, it probably smacked it and beat the heck out of it. There is the blob chip. I am just checking the components since this motor is, you know, a little stronger than the circuitry. I'm just going to check to make sure we don't see any burns, destruction, or broken components from being smacked around. Yeah, everything in here is broke. The entire door mechanism is broke free. Not sure what happened to it. Here's some of that glue that would hold the circuit board down. Not sure what happened to it. It's either just brittle from age. If it was a newer piece, I'd say it got dropped. I'm not sure. We got some the glue in the gear. See if I can get that out. There we go. None of this is attached anymore. Everything's broke free. So, let's show you. Stand up. I wish I knew what the date code M29 meant. Grab it. So, here's the motor assembly. There's the big gear. And right here, it's really hard to see, it's all black on black. Here's the broken bosses right there. That's what those attach to. That one and the one over here. This one attaches behind the gear right there. Again, it's hard to see. And then this whole assembly, which controls the door. Here's the big spring. And the guy on top is completely separated. Here's the circuit board. Try and get you a close-up of that. So yeah, this whole assembly is broken free. And I'm not quite sure how we're going to put it back together where it's going to actually hold. Because there's probably a lot of torque, so if you just glue it, these are just going to re-break. Slide the circuit board back out of the way. And what I want to do is turn it back on. There's a motor right here on this disc, it looks like. It might rotate. I want to make sure that this is actually spinning since it's out and we can see it. So, put it in. Now this is turning very slowly. And if you have this piece, the motor, which is labeled, is a Sun motor, so they still make motors, and it's an SRE 500C. Since it's spinning, I'm just going to check the teeth of the gears and look for any cracks. Those gears look good. Let's check these. Yeah, there's a lot of torque on this. Yeah. Wow. Yep, not stopping it. So, the reason this one quit functioning is the 3 bosses that the screws go into have snapped and the motor's been bouncing around inside. The whole mechanism is no longer attached to anything, which is never a good thing. I'm not sure what this metal plate's supposed to do, since it does have wires hooked up to it. Wires. you know, check the voltage and see. So this metal plate that's in the oven. Of course, I can't see it. I'm going to tip it. Let's put the battery cover back on so the batteries don't fall out, because that could be bad. Have no power, right? 1 volt is what it went to. What's the motor running at? 7 volts approximately. Curious what that disc is. It feels like the disc is getting warm. Yep, it's getting warm, because that disc right in here is a hot plate scented cake. It says it plays 25 Christmas carols or 25 year-round songs, so it has a total of 50 songs on here. All your favorites. Scented cake safety information. Direct contact with eyes or skin may cause irritation. Breathing concentrated vapors may cause respiratory irritation. Gives you the first aid stuff on what you should do. I'm not planning on eating and or putting it in my eyeball, so I'm not worried about that at the moment. It takes a few minutes for the hot plate to heat up, which is what I was feeling. It was slowly getting warm. Turn the volume knob, adjust the loudest music. No, when the volume control is at the minimum setting, no music can be heard. No, adjust the loudness of the music. Sorry, don't set it to the loudness, you blow the speaker. So, yep, that's a hot plate. Says what it's supposed to do is opens the door slowly, stays open for a few seconds, then it starts closing the door slowly, stays closed for a few seconds, and continues until you turn it off. So the hot plate works. It's only showing approximately 1 volt on my meter, but it's getting warm. And we know the motor works. Now, we just have to sit there and figure out how to make it work by getting this reattached. So there comes the fun part. And that is why, with this broke, from what I can tell, looking up inside here with a flashlight, which again I know is hard for you to see on camera because it's all black on the inside, there's nothing to reflect light, is it actually looks like these 3 screws, the one that's still here, actually hold this centered to the bottom and it free floats from the top. Meaning the only attachment points are these 3 screws, which one of them is broke off, so you only have 2 screws. It does look like it is fully disassemblable. Try and take this thing apart and try and find a way to reattach this assembly. But truthfully, I am not sure how we're going to do it to where it's going to last. Might be able to, if it's hollow enough, drill the bosses out, put in new spacers, and run a small machine screw with a nut. So where these broken pieces are, take them out, drill the holes out to a small machine screw, and then put a spacer for the same height as what's broke off, and a small nut on the back, so we can get the correct adjustment for this big gear here to drive the main gear there. And then the oblong piece, which the oblong piece, let's see what happens if I try and move that. Yeah, see the bear on the top starts to move. There we go. So when I lifted it up, there's a green bar. That green bar moves in an eccentric pattern, which causes him to move back and forth. The reason this doesn't function is the plastic's broke. Pretty basic. But the heater still works, so we can put the scented cake on there and make it smell good. I have no idea what the scent is. I'm assuming it's something Christmassy. Does it have a scent listed? Nope. Troubleshooting. This is not a toy. Avoid moisture and water. 90-day warranty. Choking hazard. 1, 2, 3 different languages we have here. So, show you a spelling issue. It's kind of funny. Swallowed. So don't swallow it. Or swallowed. 2003. Couldn't find the thing. It says that this is made in 2003. This is 18 years old and the plastic finally gave out. So now we just need to spend some time in trying to figure out how to modify this to make it function again. Modify it where the outside still looks original. We just have to modify the inside so all the mechanisms work, and re-glue the circuit board in since the 18-year-old glue has turned yellow and crusty. So most likely there's going to be a second part to this sometime down the road, because I'm going to have to think about this because I don't want to break it. It's a very nice piece. It does still play music. If I can't get it to work, I'll ask the owner if he just wants the hot plate disconnected or if he wants to keep the hot plate on. I'm not sure if he still has the scented cake. You know what? I wonder if one of these is the scented piece. I think they are, because in the picture on the box, it shows the chocolate one. Yep. Kind of smells like soap. Feels like soap. Feels very waxy. Now what's the pink one? Of course, you know, it says I'm going to get skin irritation and not to touch my eyes, so of course, you know. Let's say, may cause skin or respiratory irritation. Don't touch your eyes. If swallowed, drink 8 ounces of water or milk. Call a physician. I think they're all the same. I think each one of these came with a different, flush eyes, call a physician, milk, yep, same one. And last but not least, may cause respiratory failure, skin irritation, ingestion, call, drink milk, water, call, yeah. So these are just the 3 warning labels for the 3 different slices of scented cake. Goes back. So I'm going to leave this as it is, meaning I'm going to figure out how to disassemble this some more and see if it can be repaired with new studs. It's going to be a very, very long video if I can do that, so we're going to split it up. But what I'm going to do at the moment is push this back inside so I don't lose any of the parts. I also need to talk to the owner and see if he wants me to attempt to do it. And if he does, we'll go from there. If he says no, he's going to use it as a static prop, then I'll leave it. Because again, it's not like they make this piece anymore. It's 18 years old. And it still is a table piece that plays music, which is better than a piece that doesn't function at all if I can't get it back together. So yeah, I don't think that lined up at all. Where's my other screwdriver? There it is. The biggest issue with these is I notice this a lot with all Mr. Christmas ones, as they always have screws that have a floating section, so you can never get it to line back up. It's like they purposely do it, so if you ever take it apart, you can't put it back together again. But at least they give you screws. At least there is an attempt to fix these. Whereas Department 56 and Lemax, as an example, they don't want you to even try and open these guys up. And a lot of them, you have to unglue them, break the glue, heat them up, cool them down. So there we go. So if you have to put this one back together, put your finger in here. Hopefully you didn't have your hot plate on for long so you don't burn yourself. And then just move the center of the stove around until you get the boss to line up. The hole is actually oversized. And then the boss lines up, and you probably heard the click. The first click was the boss lining up to the first hole. The second click is when it lined up in the second hole. So, you know, it's not fixed yet, but at least I can tell you a trick that I just saw by adjusting the inside of the door. So if you happen to be the proud owner of the Cooking for Christmas piece and you need to open it for some reason, there's a trick on how to line up those 3 screws that go in the middle. Once those are lined up, just push the bottom back on. Make sure it's square. Don't force it too hard. Everything fits into its place. And then just put the other 4 corners back in. I just want opposite corners just to make sure it's relatively square inside the bottom. That. Last but not least, so there we go. And the door should still shut, which it does. As you saw when I don't know if you can see when I move the door, the bear moves back and forth because they're on the same mechanism. All back together, no damage. When I was moving it on the bench, some people said that it sounds horrible and scratchy. I was actually pivoting it on the volume knob and the power cord this time. Previously it was the power cord, and then I let it rest on the top of the chimney. And to show you it still works. Skip. Skip. Non-Christmas music. So. Alright, if he wants me to attempt to repair it, there'll be a part 2. If not, that will be it for this one. Hopefully you enjoyed it. So if this says part 1 at the end of the title, you know that a repair will be coming in the future if I can figure out how to do it. If not, it'll be a really short video that says part 2 unable to fix due to how brittle it is, or couldn't find a good way of doing it without damaging or exposing the new components, or it'll be done. So, thanks for watching on this one. See you hopefully on the one I can actually repair the next time. Thank you.